what if the course of your entire life could shift in just 2 hours? In this episode of Love is Blindy France, hearts are broken, unexpected proposals steal the spotlight, and the first cracks in those fairy tale romances begin to show, both in shocking breakups and magical new beginnings. Trust me, if you thought Love in the Pods was wild, wait until you see what happens when these relationships hit the real world. All right, let's get into it. Episode 4 kicks off right in the thick of the pod proposals, but not everyone's love story is running smoothly. We open on Sarah and Charles having one of the most dramatic breakups of the season. Charles confesses that even though they built a strong connection and he almost proposed, something shifted for him overnight. He just can't go through with it. Sarah, ever the boss, stands her ground with absolute clarity. She tells Charles she needs someone steadfast, who knows what they want and won't change their mind at the drop of a hat. She doesn't mince words. She's done, and there's no turning back. You can feel the sting, but you also see her confidence. She knows her worth, and in her eyes, Charles has missed out on a real gem. Now, as soon as Charles closes one door, he's opening another. This time with Julie. Their proposal moment has all the ingredients of a perfect rom-com. Charles, after pouring his heart out, including some touching details about his life and how his mother's passing shaped him, tells Julie he wants to marry her. Julie's reaction is a total explosion of joy. She laughs, cries, and even checks, "Wait, what's your last name?" Which is super relatable, given that she's about to say yes to someone she's never even seen. Despite the lack of a physical connection so far, both declare their love and excitement, practically floating on air. Back in the women's living quarters, Sarah's friends are supportive, but not afraid to call Charles out. They think he's out of line for switching so suddenly and worry about how he led Sarah on. Meanwhile, Julie is literally screaming with happiness. She's all in, and you can see this proposal means everything to her. The focus then shifts to Yannick and Tashiana, a couple that's been between two worlds. Yannick's had feelings for both Tashiana and Cindy, but this episode is the one where he makes his final choice. He opens up to Tashiana, apologizing for his emotional breakdown the day before and expressing just how rare these feelings are for him. Their conversation is raw and honest. Tashiana shares her own fear, but ultimately says she's ready to give this a try. Yannick then makes his move, proposing and expressing that he wants to build a family, not just with her, but including her son. Tashiana bursts out with a passionate, enthusiastic yes, and the two are completely taken by the depth of emotion between them. Of course, every love triangle needs closure. So Yannick goes to Cindy, breaks the news with care, and tries to explain his reasoning. Cindy, blindsided and hurt, calls out what she feels are mixed signals. How Yannick kept pushing her to open up, even when he might have known his heart was elsewhere. In the most honest way, she says she feels like she was kept on the back burner. Yannick insists it wasn't his intention, but the damage is done. Ultimately, Cindy walks away with her head high, knowing she was loyal to her feelings, even if it wasn't meant to be. Fast forward, it's finally time for the big face-to-face reveals. Julie finally meets Charles in person. There's laughter, nerves, and honest observations from both. Julie admits Charles isn't quite her physical type. She's used to dark-haired, mysterious Mediterranean guys. But she's decided to focus on the person he is, on the inside. Charles rolls with it, reassuring her that what matters is how they grow together from here. Tatiana and Yannick's reveal is a high-voltage moment. Both are overwhelmed, not just by looks, but by all the anticipation and hope. Tatiana is visibly blown away by Yannick, and there's a cute, almost giddy energy as they keep complimenting each other. They even have a second proposal, just for the fun of it, and it's clear these two are seriously into each other. The couple's next stop, gorgeous Tangier, Morocco. For the first time, all 6 engaged pairs are living as couples, going on their very first vacation together, and this is where the real tests begin. Some, like Tatiana and Yannick, experience instant chemistry both emotionally and physically, happily leaning into this next phase. Others, like Julie and Charles, are still learning how to merge their deep pod connection with the reality of physical attraction. Julie's open about needing time for her feelings to catch up with the physical side, and Charles is genuinely patient and understanding about it. Meanwhile, little cracks start to show for other pairs. Jonathan and Cynthia gently clash over her choice to wear high heels for their reunion with other couples. Cynthia feels beautiful and comfortable in her shoes, but Jonathan admits that the height difference and public perception are insecurities for him. He's disappointed, feeling like Cynthia should have read between the lines and supported him by choosing flats, while Cynthia stands by her autonomy and what makes her feel confident. The discussion gets heated, and suddenly a small disagreement turns into a major rift about mutual empathy and communication. Eventually, they storm off, both hurt and frustrated, a strong contrast to the love-drenched scenes from the other couples. The core cast finally comes together for a reunion, and it's clear the energy is a mix of excitement and tension. Charles faces a mini intervention from the other women about the way he ditched Sarah for Julie. Julie has his back, and while Charles explains his choice was always from the heart, the conversation gets a little uncomfortable before moving on. Julie and Charles hold strong as a couple, firm in their partnership, and vow to remain united no matter what the group says. Elsewhere, the other relationships are starting to navigate the small, yet important, quirks that come with merging two lives. Kim and Thomas talk about loyalty, and Kim feels disappointed when Thomas doesn't back her up in a group setting. She calls him out for not having her back, which for her is a non-negotiable when it comes to marriage. There's some friction, and Thomas is confused, clearly new to this level of emotional expectation. The episode wraps on the realities of what's coming. There's joy, but also tension about physical connection, loyalty, and whether these couples can make it outside the controlled environment of the pods. For Tatiana and Yannick, the spark is alive and kicking, and they're openly celebrating their relationship, even exploring their identities with black love in the French context. For others, especially Julie and Charles and Cynthia and Jonathan, there are questions about compatibility, patience, confidence, and whether love really can be blind. To sum it up, this episode is all about major choices: who to commit to, how to reconcile expectations with reality, and how to stick together when the group starts asking tough questions. It's raw, it's real, and it's a roller coaster of emotion. From devastating letdowns to fairy tale eases, from dreamy Moroccan getaways to unexpected couple drama. So that's the latest on Love is Blind Z France. What do you think? Can these couples last? Was Charles wrong to switch up so fast? Is love enough to overcome those first physical doubts? And whose side are you on in the Cynthia versus Jonathan Heels debate? Let's talk about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more recaps and breakdowns as we follow this season's wild journey toward the altar. See you in the next episode.